Welcome to Image and Interior Insights. I'm Christina with Aesthetics and Style, and I style people and places. I know that some people think it's a little odd that I do both, but as we will dive into today, really the same rules apply very often to both styling a person and styling a home or a space. We are all objects of shape, size, form, scale, color, and so are our homes. So today is going to be first of a three-part series. We're going to talk about what we consider beautiful. What is beauty and why? What do we consider aesthetically pleasing and why? So there are some science behind this too, not just crazy personal preferences, but there are some science to why we think like we do. And it really is about what the eye sees and the brain interprets. And the old ancient Greeks established that if three ingredients to what we consider beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. And those three ingredients are symmetry, balance, and harmony. So those three we're gonna dissect in a three-part series. Today we're gonna talk about the first one, symmetry, and why that is important in style of yourself, but also in your home. So what the eye sees and the brain interprets. Symmetry is when the eye can see like shapes. So it's a repetition of a pattern or a repetition of a shape. And that calms the brain down. When you see something repeated, there is a certain order to it. And the brain can understand that and it calms it down. That's why sometimes when you see too many patterns going on at the same time, the brain, you almost get a headache. The brain goes, mayday, mayday, I can't make sense of what the information you're giving me. But symmetry is something we use a lot in interiors. And it's that repetition of a pattern or a shape. Now I'm gonna take you to a few places around my house where I'm gonna show how that all works. So repetition of shapes. One way you can utilize that around your home is in light fixtures. You can do, there are several different shapes out there, of course, but rounded ones look better over a rounded table. Now this is an oval, but that's still a rounded shape, so that works. A square or a rectangle light fixture would not have looked as good over a rounded table. Now, it would have been perfect if these seats or the chairs had a little rounded back, but you know, this is what we had. It doesn't mean that everything has to have the same repeated pattern. It just needs to be repeated somewhere. So for instance, when I built this built-ins over we have a rounded dog bed, which that was probably by accident, and a slightly round dog as well. When I built these, designed these built-ins, I wanted to do some kind of a design on the front, kind of subtle, not too much. So the hectagon shape here is actually, I took that idea from the hectagon shape in the tiles. So those are ways you can really play around with that repetition. And as I said, it doesn't have to be the same shape all over, as long as you repeat it somehow. And when you have a wall or a bookshelf, of course you're going to have many different shapes. But if you're out looking for items, make sure that you at least have something that repeats one more time. It makes more sense and it's going to be more pleasing to the eye. So when it comes to personal style, the way you dress, a great way to work with the symmetry is in accessories. Especially for us women, we tend to wear a little more accessories. And jewelry is a great way to start looking at. So for instance, you have a rounded shape in a necklace. You might want to do a rounded shape in the earrings, or if you don't wear earrings, you could do it in a bracelet. If you have something that has a little funkier shape, you might want to play around with that, with the straight acrosses. Or if you have a belt, you might not wear a lot of jewelry, but you have a belt or you have a buckle on your bag, that's a great way to play around with that shape. And that is something the eye sees and the brain will pick up on, and that all make sense. The brain will calm down. And we will consider it symmetry. So friends, that was today's first introductory to what we consider beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, and why. There is a method to the madness. There is a reason why. And now, of course, we all have different tastes and different ways of expressing what we find aesthetically pleasing. And it's because all our brains are wired differently. And thank goodness they are, because otherwise our homes would look exactly the same and we would all dress alike. So some brains, or some of us, can take more of those different kind of inputs, whereas some brains will take less of them. So you need more calm, or needs more method to the madness, or more that it makes sense. And that's the beauty of us people. We're all different. So next week we'll dive into the second part, balance, and how that applies to our home and ourselves. Until then, remember, chic happens. If you have any questions, don't be a stranger, just reach out. Thank you. Bye-bye.